Another one.
API testing. I'm working on the project where I have to test APIs. Though I have done it before, I want to know what are better ways to test APIs or if I can do it in any automated way. Yeah, I like it. Right now, I do a lot of manual testing. Process is to run the server on my local or sometimes QA, hit all the APIs with Postman and check the results. But since our system is so complex, I sometimes need to test unto 15 to 16 different APIs to make sure they are not being impacted. I'm wondering if anyone has a better thought. I was thinking of writing test cases and automate some processes. Any better way or tool which can be used? Well, now you are speaking one of my love languages. I repeat, I love testing APIs. I love working on APIs. I love, I'm one of the, in the coaching group, we are building you've seen it before. We're building an application and I'm actually working on the API and the database and stuff like that. Let's get the question started, okay? So testing APIs. You don't so many people they use Postman. They try to automate through Postman, which they can do some stuff, right? And they want to use Newman and stuff like that. I personally don't like automating through Postman. I use Postman only strictly for manual testing or Insomnia, whatever tool you want to use. But when I automate my API testing, I'm either going to be using Java for with Rest Assured, or I'm going to be using PyCharm for the request library. And you could probably, I think you can do it as well in JavaScript and TypeScript if you're into that type of thing, right? You can do it in TypeScript and JavaScript using maybe Chai or Mocha. What are their like? They have like a million testing libraries for JavaScript, but you can use those to do it. But when I do, and here's the story. This is how I got into to automating APIs. Right when I started at a company, and that was pretty much my first real exposure to testing APIs, and I did it manually for one afternoon, and I said I have to do this every single time. Nah, that's not gonna work. So I searched because I was heavy into Java. I was doing all of my automation with Java at the time. I said I googled Java library for API testing, and I came up with the Rest Assured. And I said, okay, cool. Let me start to figure this thing out. And I think it probably was around like 4:30 that day when I found Rest Assured, and I started playing around with that, and I went home and I spent the rest of the evening, uh, seeing getting it configured to work. And once I was able to do my first API test using Rest Assured, I said, "Okay, cool. From now on, anytime I do a Postman to do a manual test, I'm just gonna add the equivalent API test or automated test for the API." And from there, I was able to when we were building a new API for one of the products we're working on, I was able to have 1,000 tests running daily in like 10 minutes, running daily, scheduled, running boom, 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 and doing all the positive tests, all the negative tests, so many different scenarios, using a spreadsheet of all the different data types to send in. So you have the right mindset. So I would say I would like I would recommend using Python and the request library because Java and Rest Assured, it's a bit work to get that set up, and I think the fastest route would be using Python and the request library. It's super super easy to use, and you would basically say, all right, when you import the request library, you would say, I make a get request at this endpoint, and I should get this response, and you do your validation and your assertion on what you expect to get. So that would be the status code, that would be the whatever response body that you get, things like that. As well as if you are testing the schemas of the API, what it's supposed to accept, same thing. pretty much the same thing. And you automate all of that, and you have different scenarios, different variations of your tests. And the good thing about API tests that they can go so quickly. And here's the reason that I don't like to do it through Postman, because to me, number one, it's a lot of different variables and stuff. But you also need to use an external tool to have Postman be able to execute the test, and you have to do it through like some type of JavaScript, something like. I never even bothered to try it because I'm like, hey, I can just do this through code. Why do I need to use Postman if I can do it through code, right? So that's and you can have some really cool, awesome tests. And here's another reason that I like to do it through code, because in the same code that I have my web automation, I can also have API calls to do certain things. So I can stage data that's going to be needed for my web automation test. I can stage that. I can get rid of data. I can do whatever I want to do. I can put the two together. I can run a whole suite of API tests. So that is why I would highly recommend that I would say start with the rest assured in Java is great. I would start with Python because that would be the lowest barrier to entry. Learn Python and use a request library. There's plenty of courses if you're not familiar with it. And then you can even chain your requests. So you say you have to test 15 to 16 different APIs. So you can say, okay, after I do this, the same way you have a test case, you're going to copy that test case into copy it into the file that's going to be having your code, right? You copy it into the file and you just go one line by line. You just automate, automate, automate. And with the test-driven development mindset is you make it work and then you make it better. Every single time you see me working on code on this channel, I get it to work and then I make it better. I get it to work, I make it better. And it's just that residual cycle of getting it to work and then I make it better. And so I think if you were to do that, you would have a lot of success in your process. All right. So shout out to that question. I love APIs. I love this question. I cannot wait until we get to the API testing on this channel.
If you enjoyed the fascinating information shared in this video and you want more, be sure to hit the subscribe button to Tech Coach Ralph to be notified for new videos.